Welcome. My name is Ken. I am a reference attorney with Fastcase. So today I'm going to be walking you through the process of narrowing your search with the selection of a filter, also known as the selection of a jurisdiction and or source, or a group of jurisdictions and or sources. So right away, it's important to understand what Fastcase 7 defaults a search to. So if you do not apply a filter, the system will run your search query. So if I were to come over, I've got my search bar in the center of the page. I were to enter the word or enter the phrase collateral estoppel. The system is going to look for that phrase across all content types. So content types, of course, being case law regulations, legislative materials, as well as secondary sources, so books, treatises, and the like. So it's going to run it across everything. Now, the way that I know that my filter is set to the default for the system, or basically every document within the Fastcase 7 repository, is the filter box below the search bar where I'm currently pointing will say primary and secondary all. So this tells you I'm searching across everything. Now, for most people, this is going to result in way too many results. So it is important to know how to narrow with the application of a filter and or jurisdiction slash source. So to apply a jurisdiction and or source to narrow or to apply said filter, I want to click the jurisdictions and sources box to the right of the search bar. Now, if you forget what that box does or what that pop-out does, just hover over it. It will tell you select jurisdiction and sources to filter your search. So I click it. The jurisdictions and sources pop-out will open. Now I want to work from left to right. So right away I can select my state or federal circuit on the left, and then I can select my content type on the right. So let's use Massachusetts case law as an example. I select Massachusetts on the left. I then can come over here and select cases on the right. Now you will note that each of the content types on the right has a down arrow to the left of the content category. So beside cases, if I were to not check the box here, if I uncheck it, there's a drop down arrow that would allow me to not have to select all of the courts within Massachusetts. It would allow me to select individual state court level groupings, or at the federal level, individual federal district and or appellate courts. Now what the system does do, if you select the broader category on the left, it will narrow your filter areas within a content category on the right to match what you've checked on the left. So I checked Massachusetts on the left. Now you see that all of my options under cases, or all of my kind of filtering court options, now correspond only to Massachusetts. Now the exception to this sort of tailoring rule is going to be 3 categories under cases. You'll notice that regardless of the boxes you check on the left, you'll always have groupings for all federal courts of appeal, all federal district courts, and all bankruptcy courts. Now this is designed for your convenience. It will appear, as I've noted, regardless of how many boxes you check on the left or do not check on the left. Now while we're talking about checking multiple boxes on the left, it's also useful to note that you can come over here and select, so just like I can select individual, so I could just select the single federal district court in Massachusetts. I could group it with the Massachusetts Supreme Court. You can also combine that with individual sources or individual kind of sub-jurisdiction areas from other states and or federal circuits. So I could come back over here. I could add California to the equation. Now all of my tailored check boxes under cases that were previously just Massachusetts are now going to be corresponding to California and Massachusetts. So I could come over here, I could select the Ninth Circuit, Court of Appeals. I could also select the California Supreme Court. You can even come over here. You can now open up statutes. I could add the California Code. I could then come over here and I could add, the Massachusetts Land Court's administrative opinions. Now, once you have confirmed all of the appropriate boxes are checked on the left and then the right-hand side, you simply want to come up to the top and click Save and Continue. Now, while I'm hovering over Save and Continue in the top right of the Jurisdiction and Sources pop-out, it's also important to note that there is a Reset button. Now, at times, if you have applied a bunch of filters and you've ran a bunch of searches and you're getting, let's say, the frustrating error message, the easiest way to clear out the most common error message is to open up the Jurisdiction and Sources pop-out and just click this Reset here. I will typically click Reset as a rule of thumb just to make sure that everything is cleared out of the system, but this is just a nice little pro tip I add to people. If you ever experience an error message that says some variation of, "We've had trouble loading facets," that means that there is some temporary glitch with your filters, so clicking Reset will resolve that error. So now let's click Save and Continue. Now you will notice that the checkboxes I just selected from that pop-out now appear as individual blue boxes underneath the search bar. So I've got a blue box for the District of Massachusetts Federal District Court, the Massachusetts Supreme Court, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, so on and so forth. Now, once you have verified that all of your blue boxes below the search bar are correct, you then just want to run your search. So let's run collateral estoppel. You get your search results that are applicable to those filtering areas on the right, of course, and then on the left in the top right where we have current sources, as you see that I'm highlighting in blue, I can click Show All 6 to open it up. You can now see that those same 6 blue boxes representing the filtering areas that were below the search bar on the main page are now appearing in the top left of your search results page. And that is all there is to selecting jurisdiction and sources in order to narrow a search in Fastcase 7.